Today we will read about Indian polity and constitution from the Lucents. The term political science is intimately related to the word politics, which itself is derived from the Greek word polis, that means a city state, the general form of political organization in ancient Greece. The sophists, the sophists, that is, the wandering teachers of wisdom, particularly Protagoras and Gorgias in Athens were the first to expound a political theory. Later on, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle continued to conduct the scientific study of the various problems concerning the state and the government. Aristotle, the world famous Greek philosopher, however, excelled his teacher Plato and his teacher's teacher Socrates. Now, Aristotle is regarded as the father of the science of politics in the West, while Manu is considered to be the first political thinker of India. His famous book Manusmriti is regarded as the first book of law in India. Later on, it was Kautilya, that is Chanakya, who formed and formulated thinking and gave it to a concrete form in the shape of a book named Arthasastra, a well-known book of Indian polity. In his famous book Politics, Aristotle has asserted man is by nature a political animal, and he who by nature and not by mere accident is without state is either above humanity or below it. Now let's come to Republic of India. India, a union of states, is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic with a parliamentary system of government. The republic is governed in terms of the constitution, which was adopted by Constitution Assembly on November 26, 1949, and came into force on January 26, 1950. The constitution, which envisages parliamentary form of government, is federal in structure with unitary features. The President of India is the constitutional head of executive of the Union. Article 74(1) of the Constitution provides that there shall be a council of ministers with the Prime Minister as its head to aid and advise the President, who shall in exercise of his function act in accordance with such advice. The real executive power thus vests in the Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the House of People, that is Lok Sabha. Similarly, in the states, the governor is the head of executive, but it is the Council of Ministers with the Chief Minister as its head in whom real executive power vests. The Council of Ministers of a state is collectively responsible to the Legislative Assembly of the state. The Constitution distributes legislative power between Parliament and state legislatures and provides for vesting of residual powers in Parliament. The power to amend the Constitution also vests in Parliament. The Constitution has provision for independence of judiciary, comptroller and auditor general, public service commissions and chief election commission. Then let's take a brief look. Government of India, country name is Republic of India or Bharat Ganrajya. Government is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic with a parliamentary system of government. Capital is New Delhi. Administrative division is 28 states and 8 union territories. Independence in 15th August 1947 from the British colonial rule. Constitution. The Constitution of India came into force on 26 January 1950. Legal system. The Constitution of India is the fountain source of the legal system in the country. Executive branch. The President of India is the head of the state, while the Prime Minister is the head of the government and runs office with the support of the Council of Ministers who form the Cabinet Ministry. Legislative branch. The Indian legislature comprises of the Lok Sabha or House of People and the Rajya Sabha, that is Council of States, forming both the houses of the Parliament. Judicial branch. The Supreme Court of India is the apex body of the Indian legal system, followed by other high courts and subordinate courts. Flag description. The national flag is a horizontal tricolor of deep saffron, that is Kesaria, at the top, white in the middle and the dark green at the bottom in equal proportion. At the center of the white band is a navy blue wheel, which is a representation of the Ashoka Chakra at Sarnath. National Day. 26th January, that is Republic Day. 15th August, that is Independence Day. 2nd October, that is Gandhi Jayanti or Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. Let's read about the constitution. Constitution is the foundational law of a country which ordains the fundamental principles on which the government or the governance of that country is based. It lays down the framework and principal functions of various organs of the government, as well as the modalities of interaction between the government and its citizen. With the exception of the UK or United Kingdom, almost all democratic countries possess a written constitution. India also possesses an elaborate written constitution which was enacted by a constituent assembly specifically set up for the purpose. Now we will read about evolution of Indian constitution. Our constitution, our present constitution, the first constitution of India framed and given to themselves by the people of India, was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. It came into full operation with effect from 26 January 1950. The constitution as originally adopted had 22 parts, 395 articles and 8 schedules. Its present text is as amended from time to time. Although the systems of ancient India do have their reflections in the Constitution of India, the direct source of the Constitution lie in the administrative and legislative developments of the British period. A concise and chronological description of the acts, documents, and events that culminated in the framing of the world's largest written constitution is given here. Yes, India's is the world's largest written constitution. Administrative and legislative reforms before 1857. Regulating Act of 1773. This act was based on the report of a committee headed by the British Prime Minister Lord North. Governance of the East Indian Company was put under British parliamentary control. The Governor of Bengal was nominated as Governor General for all the three presidencies of Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. Warren Hastings was the first such Governor General under this act. A Supreme Court was established in Calcutta, now Kolkata, in 1774. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice. Other three judges were Chambers, Leominster, and Hyde. Governor General was empowered to make rules, regulations, and ordinances with the consent of the Supreme Court. Pitt's India Act of 1784. It was enacted to improve upon the provisions of Regulating Act of 1773 to bring about better discipline in the company's system of administration. A six-member board of controller was set up which was headed by a minister of the British government. All political responsibilities were given to this board. Trade and commerce related issues were under the purview of the court of directors of the company. Provinces had to follow the instructions of the central government and Governor General was empowered to dismiss the failing provincial government. Charter Act of 1793. Main provisions of the previous acts were consolidated in this act, provided for the payment of salaries of the members of the Board of Controllers from Indian Revenue. Courts were given the power to interpret rules and regulations. Trade monopoly of the East India Company came to an end. Power of the three council of Madras, Bombay and Calcutta were enlarged. They were also subjected to great control of the British Parliament. The Christian missionaries were allowed to spread their religion in India. Local autonomous bodies were empowered to levy taxes. Charter Act of 1833. The Charter Act 1833 was enacted by the Parliament by the British Parliament, provided for the establishment of a law commission for consolidated and codification of Indian laws. In 1835, Lord Macaulay was appointed as chairman of the first Law Commission. Sir James Stephen was appointed as a law member in place of Lord Macaulay. Slavery system in India was declared illegal through this Charter Act and was abolished in 1843. The Governor General and his council were given vast powers. This council could legislate for the whole of India subject to the approval of the Board of Controllers. The council got full powers regarding revenue and a single budget for the country was prepared by the Governor General. The East Indian Company was reduced to an administrative and political entity and several lords and ministers were nominated as ex officio members of the Board of Controllers. For the first time, the Governor General's government was known as the Government of India and its council as the Indian Council. Charter Act of 1853. This was the last of the Charter Acts and it made important change in the system of Indian legislation. This act followed a report of the then Governor General Dalhousie for improving the administration of the company. A separate governor for Bengal was to be appointed. Legislative and administrative functions of the council were separately identified. Recruitment of the company's employees was to be done through competitive exams. British Parliament was empowered to put company governance of India to an end at any suitable time.